good morning again, everyone. We're really excited to have you here. We're excited to be the first ones to get to you this morning. So, I know a lot of you might not know about the F&E process, or you might know some about it, but we're going to kind of go through the whole thing and then take you through our journey with our business. I'm Alexis Keene. I'm originally from Syracuse, New York, and I'm the co-CEO of Velo.
I'm Ariana Tang. I'm from San Jose, California, and I'm your CFO.
I'm Alejandro Flores. I'm from Washington, D.C., and I'm co-CEO with Alexis. All right, so just to bring you through what FME is, take you through the experience. FME is what we call it here. It stands for Foundations of Management and Entrepreneurship. It's a full year course, so every freshman has to take it. It's mandatory, and it goes fall and semester. What it does teach us is entrepreneurship, management, in the name, and OB, so we learn how to manage with other people, and just multiple things that is kind of different than a typical classroom course. So what it does is we learn inside the class, so the professors do teach us, we go through PowerPoints and stuff, but on top of that, we get the real world experience. So we get to go out there and actually start up our own business. This is funded by the school. It's $3,000 up to $3,000 for startup loans. And each team has that money to start their own business. And by the end of it, we try to break even, obviously, and make some profit, because all the profits go towards a charity of our choice. We actually get to choose that charity. And we chose the food bank in Boston. Just taking you through the actual FME, we have three main phases. Fall semester consists of the two main phases of explore and pursue. The explore phase, it's more of just getting to know your teammates. We are split up into teams at the beginning, and it's about 5 to 6. That's how we start off, by the professors, split up by the professors. And we kind of just get to know our team, our interests, and explore something that interests us. So what we did, we were split off into two teams within our larger group, and we had one that was focused on food, which delivered food after hours when trim and raise is not open, and then we focused on solving a problem on campus of lost keys and one card. So what we would do is go out there and observe the problem. So we would just stay on campus, see if people are struggling to get into doors, struggling to untangle their headphones, things like that, go to the gym, and the other group would focus primarily on, after trim and raise hours, they would be asking people if they need food outside of those hours. So after the explore phase, when you do find what you want to pursue, you have to pass through the rocket pitch, which Alexis will mention a little bit later after in this presentation. And that's like basically just a 3-minute pitch of what your purpose is, how you're going to find a solution to the problem that you found through the explore phase. And then you have to pass through feasibility. That's another presentation. And all these presentations you pass them by getting votes from your actual peers and the professors. So feasibility, you have to prove that your business is actually feasible, state numbers, see if everything matches up, see if there is an actual market out there, see if there's people that would actually want to buy your product. And then you go on to the pursue phase, which presents your launch plan. Your launch plan is basically just stating out your whole business model and seeing how far you're going to get with that business. And after the fall semester, when you come back after winter break, you start up in the phase that we are currently in. That's the launch and grow phase. We're near the end of that phase. We don't have much time left. I think we have about 4 days until the close of business, but launch and grow phase is when we actually receive our funding. And once we receive our funding, we can actually start up our business, start selling, marketing our product, and get things going. And now we're at the final stages, as I mentioned earlier.
So just to take you through one of the problems that we went out there and observed, I know Ali just mentioned it briefly, just a little story to introduce it. So picture this, you've had a long day at school, bad grade in the test, you're piled up with work, you just want to go to the gym, blow off some steam, you You get there, your headphones are tangled, you're frustrated, you're just ready to go back, go to bed. You get to your dorm, you realize you lost your one key and your room key at the gym. This is a problem that we observed along with others, such as students losing expensive items, and we just wanted to fix all of these problems in one simple solution. So this is kind of where our product came from.
Okay, so this is Velo. This is our team. This is our product. Velo, the name, comes from the word envelope. It has a similar purpose, similar meaning. So envelope carries one thing, or carries many things from one place to the other, A to B, in a safe and secure manner. Just how we wanted our product to be. We carry our essentials, the key, the card, untangling headphones, we have our headphones too. And it carries it from one place to the other. So we thought it would be a good name for our company. This is our product. It holds, as Alexis mentioned, those problems that we mentioned. It solves those all in one place. We offer different colors, and we actually added this new feature at the top, which you can see in the picture. Through market research, we noticed that people would be more willing to buy our product if it did have the bottle opener feature at the top. And that's for soda, by the way. That is soda right there. So we do have that feature now, and what's really unique actually about our product is that it's 3D printed. So we designed this whole thing from the very start, from scratch, and we met with designers, we met with suppliers, and now we have one main supplier that makes these 3D printed products. They are customizable also. We offer that feature. Since 3D printing, every single one can be unique. Every single one is printed individually. So we could switch it up for each one. And yeah, so we offer multiple colors and we offer the customizable feature. And to get to that stage, we had to go through a lot of work. As you can tell, this picture is a little bit different than our actual product now. It shows the actual same purpose. We want to hold our cards, we want to hold the keys and the headphones in one place. But we initially began with the product being placed on a phone, because we thought everyone carries around a phone, everyone has a phone on them, so we thought it would be nice to have it on the back of it. But through 3D printing, it's a little difficult to have all this, especially with moving parts, because our headphone holder has moving parts. It was a little difficult. So that's one thing about FME. When you go through obstacles, you have to be constantly on your feet and willing to change even the product. So we had to go through multiple different prototypes, and to see that the picture from the last slide, it is different than this. We've had to go through many different modifications.
Alright, so back to the rocket pitch that Ali mentioned when he went through the process. It is a 3-minute pitch, so this is something that, like, if you're in a real business, you would be presenting to investors. You want to convince whoever you're presenting to that you are solving a real problem with your product, whatever it is. So this is an example of our actual rocket pitch that we used in class, and obviously in the FME process, you're presenting to your classmates and your professors. They act as the investors. So these are our slides. The top one was our first slide, where we showed our problem through pictures and numbers. The pictures show our classmates, they look pretty sad. They've lost either their key or their one card, and as you see here at Babson, it's $100 to replace your room key, and then on top of that, you have to pay to replace a lock. Your roommates have to buy keys. It's a whole ordeal. And it is a real problem here. Over 400 keys were lost last year at Babson, and really, like, showing this to our classmates in these numbers really just proved to them that it is a problem, made them realize that. The second picture, the graph actually shows that our target market is out there in the area, so we would have someone to sell to. And then the last slide is just a little graph showing that in our business would be a valuable experience to everyone within the company, that we are going to allow them the opportunity to work in all different areas of the business, where they could use their skills and improve in different areas. It was going to be a really good experience for everyone.
Right, so once we got through the rocket pitch stage, then it became time to do some more in-depth market research to really determine that there was a market, there was such a demand, that we were really providing benefits to our target market. As Ali mentioned, this is in preparation for the feasibility presentation, which is where you really take your idea and you develop it into an actual business plan. And try to convince your classmates and professors that the business that you're trying to pursue really is feasible with the startup costs and the total amount of funding that we are able to get. So to do this market research, we had two main methods, and the first was a focus group, which mainly gave us qualitative information about our product. We were able to hear and get real-time feedback from from individuals in our target market, and so the focus group involved questions, and it was very discussion-based. They were able to tell us which features they liked and which they didn't, what they would like to see, reasons why they would buy, reasons why they wouldn't. So if you notice with our visual here, it's on your left, the focus group yielded that they would be willing to purchase like the features separately, and so that was why customization early on in our process was a really important thing to our company. They really liked that we would be using high quality materials, and since our original product would attach to your phone, no residue was a really critical part of our product. From our second mode of market research was an online survey via SurveyMonkey, and this mainly yielded quantitative results. We were able to determine that our target market is around ages 18 to 21, and that the target price point that was met with the best reception was $10 to $15, and about 30% of our target market would purchase on average one each.
So the next stage is the feasibility stage after, like Aaron was just talking about, all the research we did to further develop our product. The feasibility presentation, it's a little bit longer than the rocket pitch, and it's more about all the numbers that go into your business, really just proving that you're going to be able to fees like this business and really pursue it. A lot of people think like when you start a business, it's just buying inventory, you sell the inventory, that's it. This graph is a really good example that that's not all that goes into it. These are a lot of the costs that we had to go through and really think through, so to really plan out what you're going to be spending your money on, what the money is going towards. And on top of this, you have expenses that we didn't plan for, so you have to deal with that too. Just to go through some of the bigger numbers, where our money went to, the initial inventory purchase was a big part of that, working capital, and then the marketing expenses. Just to give a few examples, we purchased banners, we purchased flyers, business cards. Some of that money goes towards like promotional events. When we were selling, we would hand out candy. We had a giveaway on social media, so that's just, it just shows you how much you have to think through it, all these different expenses you're gonna overcome in your business. So that's what all feasibility is about.
All right, so this is our team picture on the left of you guys. We're a team of 20, but it's not just limited to 20. As you can tell, we are from all around the world. That's one thing that Babson offers is diversity. That's great, especially for us because we get to learn about different cultures, different backgrounds, and what everyone brings to the table and brings to the group is different perspectives. We get a global mindset, different point of views, and different personalities also. So we learn how to cooperate, how to work with all these, every single person, no matter what type of background or culture they have. On your right is a picture of us selling, and that's at our Trim dining hall. This is with our supplier, Evan, that we ended up finding. He is a student at Northeastern. He's also a freshman, actually. And here you can tell that it's not just limited to the 20 that we have. We also have Evan, it's part of our team. It's anyone who really contributes to the team, any resources that they provide, that we feel as if they are also part of the team. It's very important to value every single member in any spectrum of your business also. So we hang out with Evan all the time. We even bake some brownies sometimes together. So it's great. Yeah, so we're all a good team.
So you got to see a picture of us. Once we came together, this is how we decided to structure ourselves. Ale and I oversee the business as co-CEOs. We kind of took this approach to the business because we knew we had strengths in different areas and that we would be valuable in different areas of the business. So to split up, I kind of focus more with the operations, human resource, and finance departments, while Ale works closely with the marketing and sales. This is just where we fit in better, but I mean, we meet on a daily basis, keep each other updated, go through the business. We work together every day. On top of that, we have weekly meetings with each, or all the VPs. They're responsible for reporting directly back to their departments to update the team, keep everyone on the same page. Every member knows their responsibilities, they know what they're supposed to do, they know who to report to, they know who to ask questions to. So it just shows the structure is really important in the communication in the business. You need to make sure everyone's always on the same page so everything's running smoothly. This takes you back to the beginning of the year. The DISC assessment is the survey that you take before you're split up into your groups in FME. And as you see, DISC is split up into 4 different categories. So after you take this survey, it kind of places you in the categories that you fall mostly under based on the questions you answered. And then you receive this booklet. It's actually a little scary how close it is. That tells you how you act in certain situations, your strengths, your weaknesses, gives you advice on how to handle certain things. And this kind of shows how we ended up in the positions that we ended up in. For example, Ale was a very strong I. I don't know if you noticed, but he probably hasn't stopped smiling this entire time. Sometimes it's a little much to handle, but he's always outgoing, very lively, all the time. But he's the reason we have a product right now. I was ready to give up, and he stayed optimistic throughout the whole process. We didn't have a supplier for 2 months. So that's obviously why he works closely with marketing and sales. He's got that creative mind, crazy ideas always thrown out there. So he fits, that just shows the category and where he ended up in the business.
So Alexis is mostly C. She's conscientious, really. I remember at the beginning of the year, towards the first semester when we first got into our teams, she's a pretty private, pretty reserved individual, so that's really accurate. And we sort of didn't really know how she did things, how she operated, so she kind of acted as CEO with this sort of shroud of mystery around her, very much at the top of the organization, and that's a little bit reflected in corporate culture. Your superiors are sometimes not so, I guess, readable, and in many ways that's very much Alexis. She's also very analytical. That's so accurate. And that's why she mainly takes care of the operations department and the finance department, because a lot of that work is very technical and very quantitative, number-based. She's also steadiness. Some us there. We had some conflicts, of course, within our company early on, and then also within during our selling period. And so her even-keeled temperament was really helpful in solving some of those problems.
Okay, it's my turn. It's my turn to roast. So Ariana, I don't know if you can tell this by now, but I didn't even have to read the booklet actually that they gave us. She is a very high D, dominant. She is top of the charts on that. So these bullet points describe her perfectly. Direct, not a problem for her. She handles any type of conflict that we have, she will tell the person straight up. If you mess up in the group, she will make sure you know that you messed up, forever. She will make sure you do not forget that. Results oriented, that is her forte, yes. She is the CFO, so we need results. It's perfect, her position is perfect for her personality. We need the numbers to match up in the financials, and she does get that done. She makes sure if there's any errors, that we figure that out very quickly, and we fix those. Firm person, very firm. Backhand, front hand, the firmest. No, I'm just playing. No physical abuse. No physical abuse.
He's an eye.
Yeah. Strong-willed, yes. She keeps our team going. We're always going to get through it if we have Ariana leading our team. And yeah, so it's something great to have. DISC assessment tells us every personality on our team. Make sure that we are balanced, and we notice that we are balanced. So we can notice people's strengths, as we were mentioning, their weaknesses, and exploit those strengths. So this is a great thing that FME offers.
So once we received the funding, which was essentially getting through feasibility, sending academic services, a list of all of our startup costs, and an approved budget, then it was time to act, and we had to launch our business very, very quickly, or we tried anyway, because the selling period is very short, and especially in our case with our lengthy design process and having to find multiple suppliers, trying to figure out exactly what the supply chain would look like. That was really difficult, really trying process for us, and so we actually launched relatively late into the selling period. But essentially, the underlying theme remains that it is important to think on your feet, to improvise as best you can with the resources and the time available.
So this is a really good, just the numbers just prove like everything we've gone through in our business up to date. Just to start off with the suppliers, obviously give you a timeline, maybe where we were. So when we got in the group, the big group that you saw, right before the first semester ended, so that was right before Christmas break, and at this point we didn't have a supplier. So we spent a lot of that break searching, researching everything, trying to find a supplier. One of the first people we spoke to, we thought we had a pretty close relationship with him. He was a local in Wellesley 3D printing company, Toys and Box. We talked to his designer a lot. He wasn't local, so that was, I think, part of the issue, and it turned into a timing issue because, like Ariana just said, it's a short selling time. You need to like really get into action fast, and it just wasn't going to work out. So we had to say goodbye to him. Another supplier that I spoke to over Christmas break, it would have been great to work with them. They would have gone through the whole process with us and everything, but they were asking for an unrealistic amount of money, which is another thing you have to think about because you have a limit of $3,000 to start up this company. And that brings us to Evan.
Evan, okay. Before we even get to Evan, just the number of 5. With our FME company, we had to go through multiple designers also. We found one of the designers that we actually found and used was a person that we found on Craigslist, and he's living in New York. So he made our first CAD file. So to 3D print something, you need a CAD file. You need those numbers. And we ended up not even using his design. We had the file, and we went to go look for a supplier. That was our next step. That was local. And we searched on this website, 3D Hubs, which presents all these 3D printing places close by in our area. And one of them was local, and one of them was at Northeastern. So what we did was go and get our first prototype from him. Funny story, I ended up going, and I didn't know he was a student. I didn't know he even was a freshman. So I show up, and he takes me up, and I was like, where could these 3D printers be? He actually takes me to his dorm. He has 2 3D printers in his dorm, and that's actually how we make all of our Velos. They're made in his dorm. He sleeps through it. I don't know how. It's really loud, but he sleeps through it every night, and we go to pick it up. So that was our designer, Evan. One of the 18 prototypes that we actually started working on, I think it was the second time I met Evan, one of the designs that we were making overnight, so we kept on working. That's the one thing with 3D printing, by the way, like even a gust of wind or like 0.00 millimeters off can make a product from effective to defective. So we had to make plenty of prototypes, get our design right, because we want our whole team on board with that too. So one of those nights that we were making it, it was the second time, as I mentioned. We stayed, I think, throughout the whole night trying to get it right, and I missed the last tee back. That's the train that comes back. I missed the last tee back to Babson, and I had class the next day, so I ended up like just asking Evan, and he was open too. He let me crash on his floor in his dorm. So what he did was just lay out a nice yoga mat and give me some sheets as a pillow, a towel as a little blanket. I'm making it sound worse than it is. It was great. It was a great time. But yeah, so I had to stay there, and then because I did want to bring back. That's the one thing about FME, especially with our company. We created this product, so it is ours, and we feel that responsibility to actually make it and provide a product that we created ourselves. So I did stay there overnight. We came back. I didn't even have money on my card, so I had to walk back from the closest station and make it to actually FME class that morning. 9:45, made it. So we did bring back the last prototype, and that's one thing about 3D printing. You just have to keep on working, and every single one is made individually, so you can make those changes. That's why we chose 3D printing over, say, injection molding. Also, injection molding was more expensive, but 3D printing, you can be constantly changing your idea, and every single product is different than the other one.
So this picture is a really good, just like, to look at the evolution of our product. Like Ali just said, the 18 different prototypes that we went through. You can see how much it changed and everything we went through. ET&A is entrepreneurial thought in action. This is something you're really going to learn throughout the FME process, inside and outside of the course, but also throughout your time here at Babson. It really just means not having a set end goal. You have to always keep an open mind, keep persistent, don't give up, and that's what we did. We had to overcome a lot of obstacles, obviously, and make the changes necessary. We took feedback from the customers, we took feedback from our group members, we made the changes, and we arrived at the best product possible, but you really have to keep positive and push through. Even the slightest changes, you see the far one on the red one up to the top, which is our final product. The top is a little bit differently shaped. Just like the slightest change you can make with the 3D printing, but just makes it a little easier to open the bottles. It's just the little changes. This is what we went through.
All right. This is a video that we made with the marketing team, just to give a little background on what Velo is and how they're made, our supplier. So just giving a general background for potential customers.
3D printing has revolutionized prototyping and small-scale manufacturing. Over the last 2 months, I've partnered with Velo in order to assist with the design and manufacturing process of this new prototype. It's designed to provide the maximum utility and convenience for Babson students by packaging your key, your card, and even a bottle opener all in one. I hope you enjoy it.
So this is also an example of an unforeseeable expense. We weren't expecting to produce a marketing video in the form of this, but we thought that it was a sound business decision because it would help generate more sales. It attracted people to our table because we did have a video playing. It also supports fellow entrepreneurs. The person who produced this video, I think his name is Joshua English, and he's also a student at Northeastern. He is trying to start his own photo and video production company, very much like us trying to start a company, and we thought it was important to have small businesses support small businesses.
All right, so another part of marketing is also our social media pages. We have an Instagram page, we have a Facebook page, and what we try to do with both of them is tell our story. Our FME experience is a little bit different even than other FME companies, since we did create our own product and go through that whole process of designing and actually producing it, not just buying it and reselling. So what we did on our Instagram page is have like a whole story from the very beginning when we just formed as a team, creating, so from idea generation to the market research, to creating our first prototypes, and then finalizing our design. We all have that on our Instagram page, even up to this point from where we're selling now. That's more of a visual representation, and our Facebook page is more of word-based. So we try to describe our actual company have some similar videos or maybe links that relate to our purpose as a company on our Facebook page. And we try to reach a wide audience and gain awareness throughout our Babson community, because that is our target market. So what we do is we follow people that we know from Babson. We follow people, even our friends. And that's actually the really cool thing about having these social medias and having our website, that even people from back home you can start following, and they can see what you're doing, even as a freshman, which is crazy because we are freshmen. Like we're given a business our freshman year, so your friends get to see that, and it's crazy to see like their support and just the whole process through it. They get to live it through you, I guess. And these are some other videos that we made with marketing. We have the life without Velo, and we have the life with Velo. That's life without Velo.
Alright, so you got to see a little more of the fun part of the company. That was all our marketing campaigns. Just to give you an example of something you might be working with operations or even the finance team, this is our inventory tracking system that we developed through the business. It's actually 2 different sheets. So the top sheet is the one that, so when we receive inventory, we package each one and then we number each one, and then we record it. So we record the numbers that we just got in and do a little quality control check. The second sheet down below is actually the sheet that you use when you sell a piece of inventory. So you make sure to record the number you sold, and for finance purposes, you make sure to put the amount of cash you received, and the receipt is really important to make sure that that's in the cash box, because this is actually something that finance uses as a checks and balance system. They go back through, look at the receipts, and then actually, if you see how it's highlighted up in yellow up top, that's something that they go back and do. So they see the receipts and then they highlight the ones that we sold in yellow. That's just like I said, a checks and balance system. So we have what we're selling on 2 separate sheets. And this really is a good example of how you may be in one department in the business, such as finance or operations, but you're really working with each department. You know what's going on in each department. You're going to get a little feel for each different area of the business, which is a really good experience too throughout this. I mean, they meet all the time, obviously, to like coordinate with each other. Everyone's working with each other.
Right, so one of the biggest areas of emphasis for FME is CSR, which stands for Corporate Social Responsibility. And so Velo encompasses 3 main categories: sustainability, we have a relation with the Boston Food Bank, and we also have economically sound business model. So sustainability, all of our products are made out of PLA plastic, which is completely recyclable. We put them in recyclable, eco-friendly envelopes as well. And this is just really important for our business in terms of being sound, being sustainable, and developing in a way that is beneficial to the greatest amount of people. The Boston Food Bank tackles issues at tackles larger issues at a very local level, in the same way how we're trying to simplify people's lives by targeting college students mainly. And then economically, we believe that we offer a multifunctional product that is original, which we're very proud of, and at a price point that is, we think, affordable to most college students, especially considering the costs of replacing your keys, your one card, the inconveniences that come with that, and the amount of time that you lose otherwise. So when we had this idea, we knew that amongst the other FME sections, since the problem that we're trying to address is so common to all the students here at Babson and college students in the greater Boston area and really everywhere, we knew that we would have a lot of competition in the market. And so the other two companies that made it to the launch phase were Karaoke and Keeper. In order to emphasize the kind of benefits that we would be providing to our customers, we decided to do a feature/benefits comparison. And as you can see, Velo offers the most benefits and the most features of the three, and in this way we believe that we act to create the most value for our customers at a relatively comparable price point.
Alright, so these are the numbers of where we're at right now. Numbers don't lie, by the way. 160 units sold up to this point. Pretty big accomplishment. We sell in Trim, which is our main dining hall. It's about 2 hours, that's a 2-hour shift. And then we also sell at Reynolds, which you guys have probably been to, that's where the Dunkin' is at and stuff. That's for 3 hours. And we have 2 slots during the week. So we have one at Trim, one at Reynolds, 2 times to sell. We're actually done with that selling period. Now we're just hoping to get sales, maybe from you guys. That'd be great. We do have a limited time. Only 4 days left until we have to close our business. That's one thing about FME. You kind of have to take that into account, that it is a short amount of time. That's why we've done things to speed up the process and try to get selling as soon as possible. And also we have around 40 units to break even. So help us get that 40, please. We do want to create, at least break even. We also want profit, obviously, because as I mentioned earlier, that profit goes towards a charity of our choice. That's the food bank in Boston. And that's something actually great too, that we as a class, not only our company, but the other company in our class, we got to choose that together, and we chose the food bank. So we have that common goal, even as a classroom, and all FME companies have this common goal of giving back. So you not only have individual goals that you want to gain some experience, you also want to get better. You also have team goals within our Velo team. We have goals that we want to reach, and on top of that we have class goals, and even the whole FME has that main goal to try to give back. So it's really cool.
So obviously our selling period isn't completely over, but we've definitely come a long way and learned a lot throughout this process. Just to take you through a couple specific lessons that we've learned. So understanding of different personalities. Obviously you saw that we all come from different backgrounds. We're all different in that way, but when it comes to personalities, where you come from doesn't matter. You can be neighbors and completely different people. So you need to work through this. You need to learn how to work with people. This isn't just something in FME, obviously. It's throughout college and then when you're out of college. And just getting to do this in this setting as a freshman in college is a really valuable experience. Something else that we haven't really talked about is peer evaluations, which is something the HR department works through. They develop a survey that they send out to the whole team. We're in the process of doing our second one right now, actually. And you're able to give direct feedback to everyone that you're working with closely in your group. And then they receive this feedback anonymously, and they're able to reflect and really grow from it. So as far as individual development goes, this is such a valuable experience to have, especially at such a young age. You're a freshman in college. This is something that most people don't receive until they're in their careers already, possibly, and we're able to make these mistakes here in this setting and really watch yourself grow and make all the necessary improvements while you're here at Babson working in this company. We like to think it's real, but it's not. You're not in the real world, so it's better to learn here, make the mistakes here, and really grow. Time management, in different senses. Obviously, we have the short selling period, the short launch time, so you have to think about that when being realistic about marketing campaigns or any other goals you have, so you have to deal with that. But obviously, time management is something you're going to learn right off the bat in college when you're taking all these classes and trying to balance everything. Being thrown into having a business outside of these classes is obviously overwhelming at first, but it's definitely worth the time, and as a freshman, this is the first thing you're going to do, and it's really going to help you throughout your college career. So thank you for listening and going through our journey with us. I know we're almost done with business, but feel free to ask any questions to our email, follow us on any social media, And more importantly, we are selling today in London parking lot, which is right near admissions, I don't know it that way, 2:30 to 4, so please come help us break even. Also, if you want to purchase your Velo now, we're actually selling right outside the doors for a short period of time. But I think right now we're going to go through any Q&A anyone might have. We have a little time for that, so does anyone have any questions about our business, about the process?
About the FME experience in general? Yes.
Yeah, so that's actually on us. We have to find our own suppliers. What we did was, there is a website called 3D Hubs for 3D printers in the area, and we went through the list, and Evan, who is our actual current supplier, had a cheap price and was local, so we ended up just meeting with him and talking through all the business. Yeah, so that's on us.
The college doesn't particularly give us, say, like a list of suppliers to perhaps reach out to, but most groups do have potential suppliers that they've already contacted and sort of approached about their business idea prior to feasibility. In fact, that's one of the factors that allows a company to move through feasibility more effectively, is with that kind of support. Yeah. Yes.
How are you graded on it? Is it pass fail?
So we do receive letter grades. For the most part, your grade does not in any way is affected by how your company performs. It has more to do with the deliverables, so presentations, papers that you turn in, your professionalism, attendance, participation, etc.
I mean, you are graded also. They know what you're doing in the business. I mentioned the peer evaluation, so the professors see these, so they know how you're participating in your group. They know the people who aren't really doing much, because they're going to see this reflected. But yeah, it's really all about the learning. It doesn't matter if it does matter if you break even, but it's really about the experience, and the professors know that.
That's also another good point, that FME, you're doing a lot behind the scenes that people won't really notice, not even professors or even your other teammates will really notice. So you really have to find it in yourself, some like intrinsic motivation to want to do the best that you can do and want to grow as a person, develop your strengths and work on your weaknesses. It's really cool.
Okay.
Me?
Yes, go ahead, sorry.
What happens to the company after the class is over?
Who
owns it and what?
Okay, right. So any profits or loss that you make is returned to academic services. I think if you want to continue your business beyond your selling period, you can work something out with Babson and like buy the business back.
But they own it.
But they own it, I think, for the most part, yes. And you do have to return all your inventory and any unsold inventory that you have back to academic services.
So there have been a lot of companies that, as a result of this?
I think there's been a couple, but that's not really a common practice, just because it is a relatively short time to really try to make that business happen. And there are, students generally generate more developed ideas as they progress through their 4 years here. Yes?
Sorry, about the department, my working is very challenging discussion. What are other companies did? That you develop a product or you retail with other options that we've done?
Yeah, so the question was we developed our own products from scratch, and she asked like, what other companies do. So a lot of companies do kind of just look to different manufacturers, to unique products, and buy them and kind of resell and like make them their own. A lot of companies personalize them. I see a lot of you have the bags. You must have gotten them. That's actually an FME company too. So obviously they don't sell those bags with Babson on them, so they like put that logo on there. But it's more products that like already exist, and then they kind of make them their own.
So a lot of it is redistribution. We ourselves designed our product, and it is original. There's not like another company selling Velos under like a different name per se. Shout out actually to the other company in our FME section, in our FME class. They're called Goldman Socks, and it's a play on Goldman Sachs. Their slogan is actually invest in the stock market. And so essentially they tried to tap into a niche market of luxury end goods. They sell high quality dress socks with gold metallic embroidered logo on the ankles. So we are two of, I think, a few FME companies that have original products, and in essence, we're trying again to really take advantage of the opportunity that we're given and really tap into the innovation that Babson owns.
That's kind of dependent on yourself, but what we do is we meet every day, try to get things sorted, because one of the main things is communication in FME, and since we are a group of 20, we have to be constantly communicating, getting people on the same page. So there's weekly meetings. We try to have one every Sunday or every other Sunday with the whole team, just to give them an overview of what's going on with the business. But outside of class, you do have to kind of dedicate a lot of time.
So there are selling times that you sign up for per your own personal availability, and then also any outside like personal selling you would do to family or friends back home. We do meet twice a week for FME in class, and the classes are run about an hour and a half each meeting. Yes.
I heard that there are a few students that come to Babson who already have existing businesses. So for those students, how does the FME program work out? Can they do their own business substituting for the in-class FME work, or how does that work?
No, every person has to be part of an FME team. If you do have your own idea, then you can come in and pitch it to other people and see if you can follow it. That's kind of what we did. That's what every team kind of does. You just pitch an idea that you think you want to solve, a problem you want to solve. But if you already have an existing company, it depends what stage you're at. If you're already kind of into you're like already developing your company, you probably are not going to be using that as FME unless you want to start from zero, because what Babson does and what FME does is start from the ground. So we want to start from the explore phase, and then, as I mentioned earlier,
the important thing is also a sort of democratic kind of leadership kind of organization. Most companies will be around 9 to 20 people, depending on your class, and so it's important that everyone is able to exercise, in a comparatively equal amount of input into the company and how it's shaped. Yes.
It seems very encompassing what you all did. You have hours in the classroom, a lot of hours outside of the classroom, as a freshman, how you balance all of those together in class?
I mean, yeah, it is a lot because it's like so much outside work that you don't even think about going to these meetings outside of the classroom, but it really is like a valuable experience. I mean, I am busy, but I mean, you don't really even notice it. So you like the work you're doing here, and you learn how to manage it. And the good thing about Babson is every freshman takes this course, like it's not an option. So they're all going through the same things at the same time, so that everyone knows what you're going through, everyone knows that you have meetings at different times. And something unique about Babson, students will like this, we don't have Friday classes, or they're very rare. Most people don't. So it's because Babson knows that people have these meetings, so they kind of give you this day. It's not just to lay around, you have meetings all day, and that's what Friday kind of serves for. So you do have the time to get through it.
Alright, before we leave, we wanted to do a little selfie on stage just to put in our last report. So what we do sometimes before our presentations is we have this type of ritual. We throw up our Velo sign. This is the V, and this is the L, part of Velo. And we hit them with the Hunger Games. I don't know if you know that, with the little whistle, because it is 3 fingers, just differently placed. So we go the whistle, and then we bring it up. So if you guys want to participate, it'd be great. We're going to whistle it.